So let's actually take a look at the AYRx manual and spend some time really understanding the flow of it. It's going to pair nicely with our outline, so it was just good to have something that you could flip the pages, write in, hold in your hands, and quick and easy access is what I was going for. So we're going to turn to page 8 in the AYRx training manual, the combo we have. This part is identical to the AYRx outline that's in the back of this monstrosity that is just so glorious. So just to give you a review of how this is laid out, the table of contents is about 9 pages long to give you a little idea of like how much is in here. But if you look at page, so page 1 would just be the cover, page 2 is the beginning of the table of contents. You'll see that the AYP training outline is included in here, so that is included on starting on page 12. So the AYP outline that you've gotten previously, it's in here, so you can keep it all in one spot. Also, for quick reference, the upper body and lower body videos are here. Look at page 2 for me.
Yeah, I am. I'm just following along. I'm following along. I just got to 12.
So
sorry.
Page 20 and page 21. We're just going to hang out in the table of contents for a couple minutes here so you can see how I laid it out. So, quick reference for the videos. Click on the e-manual for that. Don't try to type in the YouTube links, you know, it's kind of long and arduous. But that's what the e-manual is there for, that you guys got in the mail through Dropbox. And then we are going to hop to page 4 and look at how the upper body overview and videos starts on page 60, 61. So 60 is just like a nice pretty picture. So we're just going to hang out, again, like I said, in the table of contents, and then we'll flip to page 60 in just a few here. So upper body is what we have been doing the last couple days, but we are going to look at this together. Before page 60, so between page 20 and page 60, I want you guys to read over all the different parts of the bodies, all the different systems, how this benefits the spine, how it really helps heal the body. Really important to have that information just in your mental toolbox when you're working with people and they ask you certain questions like, why is this so good for you? Or like, how can I help with particularly injuries? People tend to want to stay away from them and not work the body, and this explains why it is so important to get the circulation to it, to get the movement, all that. Obviously, it's not, these are all references, so it's not my writing, just a little heads up. So I usually give the reference for that if you wanted to go back and research it and find out the source. So I put all that information in there. And so then, starting on page, if we go to page 5 in our table of contents, starting on page 67, these are all the templates I created. So I created about 150 templates for us to look at. 30 of them are body views, we'll call them body pages, and then 120 of them are poses, so pose templates. So there's a lot of good information for quick reference here. There is a written version, and then there's like a visual version. I tend to be very visual, so the templates are helpful for me. You know, it gives you a picture, so you know most of the pictures are accurate. There's just training wheels that didn't get updated, but it is accurate in the e-manual. And then beyond the pictures, there's just short descriptions, benefits, focal points. So we'll look at those. Let's go ahead and turn the page. Page 6 for the lower body starts on 115. Okay, so that's going over the different areas that we'll cover. And then if you turn the page 7, lower body summary pages, which are the visuals, the templates start on page 128. Okay, so at the end of this big AYRx manual is this outline. Not the identical one that I made, which is the combo. So the first half is AYP, the second half here will be identical. Okay, so it is in here. It's just divided into 2. That's why I didn't want you guys to be flipping back and forth. That's why I took the parts that we were using and put it together into like the special professional one for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 20 pages of goodness. All right. Let's go ahead and do a quick review of the upper body. Okay, so that starts on page 60. I'm just giving you a little hint so you don't have to go back and look it up. But if you did, you would just have to flip back. But let's all turn to page 60. And I know that you're just missing one page, Selena. I think it's page 68. But this is what I mean by the templates. So this is one of the body templates. So this is a really fun way to get the visual of like how we're working the body. If you go to my AYRx website, the AYRx.com website, and you go to the body model, these are the pictures of the body model where you can actually click on those red dots and it'll take you right to the video for that body part. Okay?
Nice.
So yeah, so that's on the Aerial Yoga RX website. Just FYI, Aerial Yoga Play now forwards directly to Aerial Yoga RX, so it'll bring you to the same place.
Okay.
So even though I saved one, they're really the same website now. And the older website, which was just like a placeholder, the AYRxYogaswings.com is still up as a product website. But all of that is on Aerial Yoga RX, but I'm not going to take it down since it's a nice, easy Wix website. So those two still exist. Okay? So I have like 5 websites and everyone's like confused. Why do I have so many? I don't want to like throw the old one out when I make the new one. So you'll see in this upper body template, it says the sections that we divided up into. So AYP is divided up into poses, right? You look at the outline and all you see are pose names. People are like, what's a floating Buddha, right? So it's hard to reference like how to use that for the body. So now we flipped it. So for AYRx, we are going to work on the head and neck, which we did, the upper body, the chest, the heart, the shoulders, arms, and then hands and wrists. That all sounds familiar, right? We were doing a lot of different poses to represent that. And then it shows like an overview of like what the swing can be good for: relieving tension, increasing flexibility, strength, opening the heart, aligning the spine, improving the posture. It's pretty much true for all the poses, but this is just kind of the overview. And then there's just a quick emphasis here for some of the things that we want to focus on when we're using the swing. If you're ever feeling stuck with a client, then you can always go to the hips heavy, heart open, head supported, that kind of reference. And then these all link to the 30-day swing challenge. So the links at the bottom where you see day 1 and day 9, that's referencing the swing challenge. There you go. Selena's like, oh, good.
Well, I was wondering what
that is. Yeah.
Like, oh,
that's why I was like, we should go over this. For me, I always feel like things are intuitive because at first I made it up, but that's not obviously the way other people are going to see inside my brain. Okay, so now if we keep flipping the pages and go to page 61, this is where you'll get the written version of the practice. Now, this is all review from AYP, so this will match the AYP manual. Really short descriptions, and honestly, I don't really want to go over all of this, but the video links are also in here, so for the e-manual. So we're going to keep flipping, going through all this, but you'll just see there's a written version. Some people learn well through writing it out. I'm more visual, so that's why you get both. Okay, we're going to flip to page 68, and then 68 are going to be the body templates again, with the links at the bottom and the focus for each one. So you can see now we just have them divided up into the body parts. So that summary page that was describing head, neck, C7 joint, upper back, thoracic, heart, chest, lungs. They're just really fun, pretty pictures. And then you'll notice that it gives you the therapeutic poses for that part of the body. Just a short list. Like I said, there's more than 5, but I was just trying to make it short and sweet. So like if you go to lungs and ribs, then you'll see, if you were wondering, like, oh, somebody comes in, you're like, hold on, let me take a look. And then they come in with like a pulled rib, and you're like, okay, well, I want to do swagger, freeze frame, ladle, bow, skydiver. At least attempt to. See if that'll work for them. If they don't, then you just kind of cycle through some other poses. Same with the shoulders, scapula, rotator cuff. Some of these things I tried to show you how, for example, dancing Shiva doesn't necessarily register as your first thought for something like a rotator cuff injury, but I showed you guys how to really, instead of focusing on the hips and opening up the quads, that rotation in the shoulder, and how to get the shoulder back, and how to straighten the arm, and then how to make the adjustments by pulling the leg loop up. So it wasn't so intense on the legs, so the shoulders could be the focus of a pose like that. And the same with like working with hummingbird and some of those ones. So the same with the arms. We didn't focus as much on the hands and wrists, but you could see in the first workshop when we did the full body hang, how with the wrist wrap, you can really traction the wrist, and that has been incredibly helpful for my clients. I also enjoy doing the bicep curls, even push-ups, where it's not full weight bearing, can start to strengthen the wrists and help to heal them, as long as there's no pain. So that's that. And now, after we go through, let me know if I need to slow down. I usually tend to think quick, so let me know if you're like, hold on, pause. So now we go through all the postures. Now these postures match the therapeutic poses that were just outlined in the 10 body pages that we just went through. So now I collect all of the templates instead of putting them in each section, because we do repeat the poses for a lot of the different body parts. Now they're all just collected here. So even though these ones are sectioned for upper body, you'll notice that chilaxin and some of these are actually used for the lower body as well. That's why we're going over it. But just note that they're probably in the upper body section with their first, just because I put them in the order, right? So I didn't repeat them, otherwise we'd be looking at a 300-page manual, right? Just repeating the templates. So that was kind of one of those things that I was debating on how to organize this. So if you're like, oh, I can't find that template, flip back to your table of contents and just look it up. It's not in alphabetical order. It's in the order in which I listed them on the body pages.
Okay.
Little things like that I thought it'd be good to explain. Because you're like, how come these aren't in order? I'm like, well, they are in A order. So yeah. So actually, this is, so does everybody have their outline next to them?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a quick way to reference it. So you'll notice that the upright postures has 4 images. So we go back to page 79 for a second. So if it has 4 images like that, I consider that to be like a master page. Like upright postures we use for pretty much everything. So I put 4 pictures there, and it's like a lead page. And then what we're going to do is look at our outline, and on page 8, it starts with the head and neck. Okay, so now you'll notice that these templates are in this order. Okay, so first one is forward fold. Okay, next one is headstand. Next one is training wheels. Got it? Next one is hammock, or it should be. Well, hammock's in there. Then it's chillaxin, almost in the same order. Chillaxin arms, and then hammock, namaste. So I matched as much as possible the pictures here. And if it's repeated, I don't repeat it again. Do you see what I mean? We only use the template once. But this is a nice guide on the outline here to realize how to find the templates. So peaceful warrior, etc., etc. So as much as possible, as much as it made sense, I put them in this order, how we're going to use them to go through the upper body. So upper body, we're kind of like going from the head down. Okay. So if that seems to be helpful in a way to find them, otherwise, like I said, use the table of contents. Another quick reference, when you're opening up the e-manual, when you look at the table of contents, you click on the name and it'll take you to that page. That's how it works, which is really nice.
Cool.
Took me a while to figure that out, but I was like trying to scan through and organize everything, and then I was like, if you just click on the number for that pose, it'll just take you right to that place, because it's a big file, right? So that's a nice, easy way to jump around in the e-manual. So really use the e-manual. Okay, so as you can see, there's a pretty picture. These pair nicely with the playing cards. Some of the pictures are identical. Some of the pictures I actually upgraded and did a better version, because the playing cards, you'll notice, are circles, and these are rectangles. And so a circle and a rectangle doesn't actually work without cutting off limbs. So like upside down dog, I had to create a new picture because otherwise we lost the feet, that kind of thing. But yeah, so the picture I used for skydiver, which is on page 96, is actually the same as what we call flying squirrel, because the leg loops are not at the knees but down at the ankles, which is a much harder version. But the idea of like arms open wide, legs open wide, just wanted to let you know. The pictures are a version. So let's just go ahead and look at butterfly, for example, page 97. I'm just picking one. So for each one of these poses, you have the name, a short, brief description, skydiver, feet touch, elbows bent. So that short description there is identical to what's on the playing cards. So that's how they are kind of matching. The playing cards also include an inspiration across the top, which is not in the manual. So the inspiration is like, what does that pose symbolically represent? You know, a lot of them are about leading with your heart or relaxing into a pose, things like that. So it was more just for fun to create those expressions, but that's not in the manual, since this is just full on teaching. So then focal points for that pose. So as you can see here for butterfly, the focal point is upper back, chest, shoulders, lower back. Right? So we could also put belly in there. You know, we could put a lot of different things in there. I just limited it to like 3 to 5 is what I was going for. The practice is identical to the descriptions for AYP. So the practice is like a repeat of what the AYP manual offers. So this is, not all the poses are in here, just the ones that I outlined. So there's more poses in AYP, especially for the advanced that we won't get to. Maybe eventually they'll all turn into templates, but I was like 120 is a good number. And so alignment principles, this is what we really want to focus on with the AYRx. Like alignment is the key, right? If we're doing, you see some people yesterday, like you said, you learned some things, Kirsten, when you were looking at people, right? And you were like, okay, without that alignment, they're not going to get the relief. They're not going to get the healing that the swing offers. So that's the key. And then there's lots of variations. So this is a section where I focused on what stretches we can do from that pose, like basically what pose that pose might lead into. Like skydiver leads into butterfly, for example, things like that. And then sometimes I'll put in, if it is a tricky pose, like how to exit. Not all of them, but you'll see for some of them it says, and then to exit. So the idea that each pose has variations is a nice way to reference this, to get the full breadth of a pose, to know where to go with it too. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump to our lower back, and this is what we're doing today. So is that helpful to go over the upper body, get a flow of the manual? Great. Okay, great. So we're on page 115, which is the start of the lower body. I believe. Yes. So again, this is the written section. Once you come to the end of the upper body templates, the lower body starts, so it makes it easy to switch back and forth. We have the written version for the poses. And then there is a slight description here, just small description for each one of the sections, just in case somebody was wondering, like, maybe somebody doesn't do body work for a living and they're wondering what the Psoas is. Something like that. So it does a brief description, again, not in my own words. These were all just references that I took offline. And then the lower body, the lower body is divided into 2 sections. We are going to turn in our outline, just to follow along here. We have 1 through 6 for the upper body, and then we have 7 through 18 for the lower body. Sounds like a lot of numbers, right? So we're looking on page 12. And so today, what I wanted to do was notice that the lower body is divided into A and B. Okay, so I'm looking on page 12 of our outline to get the quick reference. And so A, I divided into core and back, because there's just so many components. Like when we're working the lower back, we have to work the abdomen. You can't really separate the two. A lot of people come in with lower back pain and their abdomen hasn't been addressed. And you can see that's really where the pain is. We want to look at the body as a sphere. So anything in the back body is actually happening in the side body and front body. And we're going to address the body like we're doing bands of energy. And that's really helpful. The same with digestion. Digestion and adrenals are intimately connected. So that would be more the solar plexus area, etc. So A is where we're going to begin today, and then B is working with the legs and hips. So legs and hips are mostly upper body, and the heart opening poses are mostly the hearts in the playing cards, and then lower body with the legs and hips are mostly the clubs. But they're all over too, because some of them are dynamic poses. So the inversions are the diamonds, and then the stars are kind of the more advanced fun poses, like flips and splits and stuff. So that's how it's organized. This is all making sense? Okay, feel free to ask questions if you need. I do add meditation in with the AYRx program. I have been offering guided meditations and focusing on meditation in my healing practice for about 15 years. It's a huge part of my world. But when people come in for like exercise or fitness, they're not like necessarily coming to me for meditation. Some people really like it. Some people it's really new. But that's where the cocooning can really come into that like deep spiritual experience. A lot of people, without even knowing, they'll just say, oh, I go into like a dream state, because that's the only thing that they have to relate to. Really what they're doing is they're accessing the higher states of consciousness which I call the theta state, or science calls the theta state. And so my meditations are called quantum theta healing meditations. You can find these all on my website. I also just launched a 30-day meditation challenge, and so those are things that you can incorporate into the end of your practice if you want to. You know, meditation is incredibly healing and therapeutic, but if they're not coming to you for that, and you can kind of read your clients. Some people want to meditate and they know that they should, but they haven't had the like impetus or spark. So we can be that with the end of what might be considered exercise or fitness. Then it can be part of that kind of spiritual practice. So I just offer it here as my inspiration, my passion to get people in the swing and give them that. It's part of the transformational training. You know, they really do have these profound experiences, even if they're not really sure what's happening or why. And that will lead us into Module 3 next year or down the road, whenever I create it, where we get into the sacred geometrics and the metaphysics and why the swing is so powerful, what are people really experiencing while moving in multidimensional space, how that can relate to our DNA and our energetic field or quantum field, polymorphic fields. I give a little taste and a little hint of that in the last page of the system descriptions, just like tiny little hint of what's coming next. So we'll learn more of the sacred geometrics and spiral dynamics if you guys are wanting to move on to that like kind of PhD level with the training. So altogether, this will wind up being a 100-hour training, when it's all said and done. But right now, with this whole combination, we're looking at 40 hours, which is still a lot. You know, it's a lot of training. So yeah, so let's look at these templates. Okay, so after from 1 to 18, if we keep turning the pages, you'll see it's the written version. And then I believe it's 128 that we get to what we're going to work on now. And what I would like to do is just kind of go through and review these body templates. These are, for me, it makes sense, but read it over. If something doesn't make sense to you, please let me know, because I'm happy to, I'm on version 2 of the manual already, but I'm absolutely willing to hear your feedback and your comments to create some edits and do version 3, just as part of the, something new, just to make those changes. So yeah, so we're going to go over core, abdomen, digestion, lower back, of course. Lower and upper back, we'll do a lot of those together. How this can help and benefit the adrenals, the kidneys, the psoas, which is also a major player for lower back pain, the QL or quadratus, the SI joint, the glutes, and then lower body part B is what we're going to do for the second half of today. So the flow that I had set up, and we'll just see how it goes, from 12 to 2, we're going to focus on the lower body, part A, and then we're going to get into reviewing and practicing our YOGASSAGE. If we look just at the end of our outline here, we have page 17. We have cocoon and chilaxin is 1 and 2. I was going to have us do those from 2 to 3. We'll have like little breaks in there somewhere too. So approximately, we'll go over cocoon again, and then we'll add chilaxin into our YOGASSAGE, our hands-on massage work. And then after we go over legs, we'll go over legs from 3 to 4. Then from 4 to 5, we were going to get back into, so Superfly will be a review. The Superfly is this. And then we're going to add in the Buddha leg love. So more focus on the lower body today, but again, we'll go back. We're going to flip back and forth because it's a lot of the same poses. When we get into the legs, I am going to go over the half Buddha sequence with you guys, which we didn't do on Friday, because since we were doing lower body today, I figured we'll just save it. So some poses like that are in the AYP, I will just kind of fill in any blanks. When we go over the core, we're going to get into our plank toe touches. So we didn't do plank toe touches when we went over the core yesterday. So there are some things that would just have some spots to fill in that have to do with the lower body. Is everyone comfortable with the temperature? Okay. Just let me know if you need anything. Since we're going in these kind of longer chunks and not long breaks, because I would like to give us that 5 to 6 period off again. If we have a little bit of run over time, it's okay. We'll probably just have like 5-10 minute breaks in there where it feels right. If you need to take a break at any time, I give you full permission to take care of yourself. Bathroom break, water, just sitting it out, writing, looking over all of this wonderful material. Today is really just about deepening the experience since we already did the poses. Now that we got the poses done, like I said, we'll have a few fill-ins. Now we're going to repeat them with all of this added wisdom tools to address injury and different parts of the body that might need more attention. Even if there's not an injury there, but you, like Lacey, I didn't know that she had this shoulder imbalance from looking at her. It was only until I had my hands on her in the YOGASSAGE that was there. So that's what's great about it. It doesn't have to be an injury. We can just see an imbalance or get to know their body. Maybe one leg is sitting higher than the other, and it's not because of the swing, but it's really because of their hips. So it's our job to address something that we see in the body, even if it didn't manifest as an injury yet, but it will, right? If it keeps going in that direction, and that's what Lacey said, is she's like, this is so great because I can feel how it's helping me align my body and recalibrate. And that's really, that happens a lot. People come in asymmetrical. Most people are. They have like a dominant side or that kind of thing. And this, because the swing holds us into alignment and creates that natural symmetry of the body, it'll start to repair any sort of imbalance that's going on, which is a lovely bonus when we're working with the swing. It'll already address all that. It holds us to that truth of alignment. So let's practice. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So we are on page 12 of our outline, and we want to keep a look-see here on what's going on. And then that will hopefully match to the best of our abilities. This is why I put the templates in this order. Let's see. There are a few body pages, aren't there? All right. So we are going to start not with the inversions because we did those yesterday. But I do want to start, and we did X Factor yesterday. I do want to go back and start with the core. Okay, so 149. You guys with me? Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of pages to flip there. Don't these look pretty though? Didn't this come out really nice? Great. Yeah.
Yes. The only feedback I have is I was wondering, that must have taken a lot to hand number.
It was crazy. It was just a printing error, and like I didn't want to send them back.
Yeah.
And so
how many did you have printed?
I had 20 printed.
Wow,
yeah, so
that's a lot of hand numbering.
Yeah, this is how meditation comes in really handy in my life. That and having a lovely assistant that will sit down and this is how we spend our evenings, numbering manuals. But we did it. There are just a few little things here and there that if you notice, you can tell me, but I already know, like this is fixed. See how the picture underneath came through? Yeah. So little things like that, I'm very much aware, and the version 2 has already been cleaned up with all those little things. So yeah, little things like that, you're welcome to put a little note or tell me, but I kind of really scanned through it several times and already made a bunch of edits for version 2, which you have. I just didn't print it. Right? Yes.
For older eyes, with glasses, a little bit bigger font.
It would be nice, except I couldn't fit it all in then. You know, I had some of them, it's like, do I make it shorter? And because I did want 12 point, but some of them I had to bring down to 10 point just because there was so much information. Yeah. The other thing that happened when I switched it over to a PDF is that these numbers changed. And I can't even explain to you why that happened, but I went through and renumbered all 120 templates in the PDF by hand. Yeah. Because for whatever reason it linked it all, and then you'll just see random numbers. That's all fixed in the version 2 e-manual as well. So things like that, feel free to tell me because you never know. But yeah, we did a long kind of combing through of all this once it was printed to figure it out. So that's why, you know, I was like, well, you'll get the e-manual online. So if you've ever wanted the edits, they're there already. And that's been sent to you. Great. So let's go ahead and just follow these templates, which for the most part should follow along with, we're starting with 8A, okay? And we're just going to go through. Some of these that we did before, I'm not going to have us do again, because if we did it yesterday, we don't have to do it, right? Unless we need to review it. Now, plank toe touches, I am going to have us review. But let's go ahead and just talk about why it's so important to work the core first. And I'm going to just switch videos and get us all set up here so we can get into the swing. And this is a great warm-up for us, right? Activating your core is the best way to warm up the body.